Yo. Yo, yo, yo. How's it going, Manga Cat? Sparrow? Hope your week's going well. Yes, then. Bit too loud for me. Down. Wonderful. Alright, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Alright. Wednesday used to be book club. Now I'm just uploading videos about my reading log. Sarah, Iggy. You got the gift card working? I'm glad. Bacon. Alright. I'm jumping straight into it. Okay, so this month, I read a bunch of different series. I say a bunch, it wasn't a lot, but more than I normally do. Sometimes, I don't know about you guys, sometimes when you set yourself a goal, you sometimes fall flat on it because you overwhelm yourself with wanting to read as much as you can. And I feel like at the beginning of the year, I had this goal in mind of reading X amount, and I just got overwhelmed and I just stopped reading for such a long period of time. But now I'm just reading when I want to, and when I want to, I seem to read way more. I recently picked up all the copies of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've read the first 2 omnibuses, so first 6 volumes, which is the first 60. I've also read actually the first volume of the 3rd omnibus as well. So that's, what's that? 7 volumes in total. Now, I'll tell you what, if you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know it's a card game, right? You've watched the anime or you play the card game, you know someone who's watched the anime or played the card game. This is not it whatsoever. 60 chapters I've read, 4 of those chapters have the card game. The rest of them are just like torture games of the week. So Yugi, aka Yugimoto, is the main protagonist of the show Yu-Gi-Oh! Ah! And I tell you, he gets this Millennium Puzzle, which is just a puzzle from Egypt, and it consumes him, and he ends up having like a split personality kind of thing. It's just another character that looks identical to him, kind of takes over his body. Now, initially, the art style was very strange. I'm going to show you a picture of Yugi Moto when he is a kid. Like a young school kid. I'll get a good picture of him. This is what he looks like. This is what Yugi Moto looks like. This is him. Just normal kid. I think he's like 14, 15. And then at some point, the Millennium Puzzle takes over. And he turns into this like possessed version of himself. And he starts to look like this. A little bit more demented, a little bit more adult. So like Itadori and Sukuna, kind of, yeah, just like that. He looks exactly the same. His personality changes. In the anime, his voice gets deeper. In this, I don't think it's really spoken about. But what happens is, normally there's some sort of bully in every chapter. A high school bully, someone at your local supermarket. And what happens that Yugi goes to sleep and this new possessed Yugi comes over and says, oh, stop doing the bullying, stop doing the bad thing. And what we're going to do, we're going to play a shadow game. And the shadow game consists of random games that he just makes up. In the first chapter, he plays a game of like chicken. They put yen notes on top of their hand, and then they stab the notes. And whatever notes are stuck on the knife, they get to keep. But obviously, you want to go hard, so you get a lot. But if you go too hard, you'll hit your hand. And it's just random stuff like that. There's a couple of what was the one that made me laugh? There was one where they had like Tamagotchis, and the Tamagotchis, there was this dude at school, and he had like the best Tamagotchi, but they would link him together, and his Tamagotchi would eat everybody else's Tamagotchi, and they had to beat him. It's just random stuff. It is horrible. But it was quite funny to see my expectations of seeing the card game and end up getting none of that. I ended up getting dice games. I got like random games of it was card games as well, but I guess, but it was like normal cards, like 52 pickup, that kind of thing. They had a couple other things. There's a few guns involved. It's completely different. I think after chapter 4, the art style changes a fair bit. So that's the first 3, and then not too long after that, we see Yugi like how he's supposed to look, or how we know him in the from the anime. I'm trying to find a good picture of him. Isn't one? This is what he looks like now. Slightly different, but still the same. And then he looks like this when he's all cool. Less demented and more suave looking. So it only took like maybe 8 months for him to change his art style. But it's still funny that 60 volumes over a year, only 4 of the chapters include any form of card game. Kaiba loses to him. Not big spoilers, because at the end of the day, it's shonen. It's like not really integral, a lot of the story. It's just more like situational. But Yugi fights against Kaiba and he beats him in the Yu-Gi-Oh! As we know it, card game. It takes 2 chapters. And then it just goes into a bunch of random other stuff. And then Kaiba, he's like the oldest kid in school, like rival. He re-challenges him to another duel. But before then, Yugi has to go through like 5 different events. He has to go through a haunted house. He plays like some dice game. He plays all this weird stuff. It's strange. I don't like it at times. But I've now got to the point, I think volume 8 is where the card game comes into it. I'd be interested to know like what the rankings were for Yu-Gi-Oh! When it was airing, when it was running in Weekly Shonen Jump, and how popular the card game is. Because they have so many games that they play in these first 6 volumes that they could have picked any of them to actually be the main focus. The main focus really is just Yugi and his Millennium Puzzle and fighting off against all these bullies or bad guys. There's a couple of other characters that get introduced that have long-running chapters and that also have Millennium items. Yugi has this like pendant, triangle pendant. Someone comes in with like a necklace with like a cross on it. Then another dude has a Millennium ring, which is like a pendant again, but it's like a ring rather than a clear pyramid thing. But I've read 2 omnibuses of that, and I'm on my way through finishing the 3rd. And hopefully I'll be finished by the end of the year. But I was super surprised. I wouldn't recommend it though. I think I'm enjoying it because I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's been my passion for such a long period of time. I don't think I could recommend this. I could recommend somebody reading the first volume. And if you enjoy the first volume and it not being consistent in terms of the games that they're playing, then it would be great. If not, then if you don't enjoy it, then you could just drop it. But I wouldn't really recommend it. The art's kind of difficult to get around as well, the first few volumes, but it gets much better. It becomes more clean. But it's super hyper detailed. In terms of like the dialogue as well. Each game dedicates like a page to the rules and how it's explained, and it's all very cohesive. It works perfectly. Every game could be a physical board game or like an actual card game in and of itself. And it's awesome. You guys been reading Dorohedoro? I know Less Than has been. I don't think I made it. I don't think I made space to reread Dorohedoro because I only read it just before Christmas last year, November, I think. But Less Than, I hope you're enjoying it. Did you finish it? It is Seinen September in the Discord, so I figured I would pick up a few Seinen series. But before that, I did pick up reading Volume 5 of My Girlfriend's Child. This is... It sounds weird to say because I've only read 5 volumes and I've read it for just over a year because that's how long it's been coming out. But I think this is like my favorite shoujo series, and not because it feels shoujo, because it doesn't feel shoujo. It doesn't feel high school shoujo, and it does have small heartbeat moments of when like love is in the air. But a lot of it is actually a traumatic experience of a young girl, teenage girl, falling pregnant and going through life, school life, in a difficult situation. Many difficult situations. She has to talk to her teachers, has to talk to her parents, the partner's parents, her friends. So many things that she has to interact with that she's never had to. When you're young, you have so much free time and so little responsibility to do anything. And now suddenly she's got the burden. That sounds wrong to say, not the burden, but she's under extreme circumstances where she doesn't have that freedom. She can't do what she wants. You know, she has to consider other people's feelings and other people's opinions of her. And it's a lot to take in, considering before that she can basically do whatever she wants and no one's going to judge her. Now suddenly people are judging her. And Volume 5 is probably one of the most difficult to read because there's a lot of bullying in this one. But I love it. I love how realistic it feels. It's definitely not fantasy. But it's really heartwarming. I can't imagine, and I never will know what it's like to, you know, raise a child inside my body. Unless Bacon's going to help me. And I don't think I'd be able to handle the social pressures of everyone judging me and what it's like to have people staring at you all the time. But I feel sad and happy all at the same time because there are happy moments in this. At the end of the day, it's not a spoiler, but the boy and the girl, they are together and they're both loving. They both care for each other. But every time that this gets put onto my table, I pretty much stop reading everything and I pick up My Girlfriend's Child every single time. Okay, in saying that, I did read some seinen. I picked up something that's been... Oh, check out this. I picked up Ragnar Crimson. Check out this volume 1. This is volume 2. This is volume 2. And then you open it, and then suddenly... this. Why? Why Square Enix? Now, I don't think this is a Square Enix problem, because I never have issues with Square Enix. But it was annoying. Luckily, it wasn't the rest of it. It was only the first volume, first page. The rest of it's perfectly fine. So I picked up Ragnar Crimson. I believe it's a seinen series. I presume it's a seinen series. It doesn't feel shonen. The only way that I can explain this is it's set in a fantasy setting where dragons burn and hunt humans, and humans are forced to have the main occupation of dragon hunters be like across the whole country. Everyone wants to be and needs to be a dragon hunter to, you know, fend off the dragons from attacking your village. So they've got guilds. They go to the local guild, get jobs, go defeat dragons, blah blah blah. And this dude hangs around with the strongest female dragon killer, and he idolizes her. He brushes her teeth, he cooks for her, he does everything. And that aspect is kind of comical. And then there's the serious side of the dragons themselves. But he's like super weak. And the premise for this is his future self comes back in time to his young self by like a few years. And he gives himself the powers he knows in the future now. But with that, he also knows the knowledge that the girl that he's been idolizing from the beginning will die in his timeline. So what he does, instead of saying, I now have the power to protect my idol, this girl that I worship. Weird thing is, I don't know how old he is. I think he's 16, 17, 18. She's like 12, which is the weird thing. Anyways, instead of saying, I'm going to use this power to protect her, what he does, he shows off that he's got this power. He defeats these dragons and he says, okay, I've protected you. What you need to do now is run away. Never see me again. Stay away from me. I will bring you ruin and you will die. If you stay away from me and I never see you again, you'll live happily and I can live happily ever after. And then he never sees her again. Which is weird. Now, his future self tells him some other things, like he defeats all, in his timeline, he defeats all the dragons. So that kind of spoiled it for me in a way, because now I know he's capable of killing all the dragons. Because now the story is he's going to go kill all like the strongest 8 dragons that there are. And then that will happen at some point. But now he's in chapter 2, well, at the end of chapter 1 / chapter 2, he partners up with the second strongest dragon in the world. And that dragon says they want to destroy all the dragons in the world. And then he wants Ragnar. Sorry, I forgot to mention this guy's name. He is called Ragnar. And the strongest dragon in the world is called Crimson. And Ragnar says he will kill Crimson, and Crimson says he wants Ragnar to kill him. So I think the end of the series will just be all the dragons will be wiped out. Unless Ragnar and Crimson have some sort of bond where they, live happily ever after. But I don't know why. The only mystery part is that I don't know why Crimson, the strongest dragon in the world, other than the god, wants all the dragons destroyed and killed. You want to try it? I don't think I could recommend this either, to be honest. I've got 8 volumes. I've finished the second volume and I'm about to see like one of the strongest 8 dragons. There's 8 strong dragons. They're called monarchs, I think they're called. Crimson is one of them. She or he is number 1. And then they've fought against 2 others. And I've got 8 more volumes. I've got 6 more volumes to read. And somehow I'm gonna have to see them fight against 5 more. I don't know how, and it's ongoing, so I don't know how many more volumes it can be, or how more in depth the story could be, because we're already fighting against the strongest 8 dragons in the world. It's not like we're fighting against, friggin' Buggy and, Don Creed and stuff like that. We've gone straight in. We're fighting against Shanks, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, and Mihawk straight away from chapter 1. That's what we're doing. I don't like it. It just seems weird. It's almost like I don't see the point in reading it, because I know he's going to defeat all the dragons, because that's what his future self does. He has the power to do that. Crimson wants all the dragons defeated, and they can destroy all the dragons easily. There was one thing in I think it was chapter 2. The dragon that they fight, one of the monarchs, has this dialogue. I posted it on Instagram. He has this dialogue. He just starts monologuing. Where is it? And I turned the page. This is some Hunter x Hunter stuff. This is what I was met with. This is which finger is this? This is the dude. He's one of the strongest dragons. And he's just monologuing inside this hurricane. And he's just talking about how he's going to kill humans. No one's around. But he's talking as if he's talking to a bunch of people. I would say read chapter 1, volume 1. If you enjoy volume 1 or want to see where it goes, although already spoils where it's going to go, then yeah, I would say pick it up, I guess. I'd have to read more to see if I would actually recommend it, though. Number 1 is very chunky in comparison to volume 2, though. Very big. And then I read Centaurs again. I read Centaurs. This is the third time that I've read chapter 1. I read chapter 1 earlier in the year, and then I read it again twice. It was really good, and I read it again this month because I also had volume 2. The weird thing is that volume 1 has a 1 on it. You see on the spine? So volume 1. Volume 2 has 2 lines, meaning it's either 11, or if you put it this way, it's like the kanji for 2, ni. But then on the side, it has number 2. And the strange thing is, pre-orders on sci-fi.com, use code Dragon Ball Zowie for 5% off at checkout. You can pre-order volumes 3, 4, and 5, and they all have 3, 4, and 5 numerically on the front, which is weird. Anyways, this is great. I think everyone should read this. I'm not even going to explain the premise. Just read it. It's about centaurs and how prejudiced humans are towards them. Read it. It's great. It's fantastic. It's both mysterious, action-packed, thrilling, and emotional. I cried in volume 2. And I think it's got 5 volumes out for pre-order. I would recommend the first 2 volumes. And if you like it, then maybe continue it. Volume 2 goes in a strange direction where you're not too sure what's happening. Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it too much. AI manga. I must admit, this didn't read like any kind of AI. Langston. Me personally, maybe the English version. Wait, did you get the English version as well? It didn't feel like it. It read perfectly. And the same with volume 2 as well. I'll go to say that this is probably my favorite manga that I've read this year. But yeah, I kind of don't want to say too much about it because I feel like just not knowing is part of the experience, you know? But it's great. Filled with drama, filled with suspense, filled with love and passion. And a lot of escape. A lot of escaping. A lot of running away from humans. Because humans are horrible. I don't know what it is with us, but we feel like we need to dominate every single species. We do it with our pigs. You know, we breed pigs, breed cows. We eat them, we kill them, we eat them. You know, we breed dogs and cats and we sell them to make money. We can go on holidays and buy houses and stuff. You know, we get horses and we slave labor. You know, years ago we did it for people. We're just so... We think we're up here, but we're not. We're really not. I've got to keep an eye out for Peanuts. She'd be crying. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what kind of demographic this is. It feels seinen. It feels like it's targeted towards me. Some things were corrected. Yeah, I did notice in volume 2, I think it was the first chat. Yeah, literally the first page. One of the girls' names was changed. One of the female centaurs. Now, I don't know if that's because they read the kanji wrong or if it was just like an AI thing. Yeah, I think I still think it's good. You think it's Josei? No way is it Josei. Don't be telling me. No way is it. Jinba. It's called Jinba in Japanese. I can't find it anywhere. It just says, oh, I've checked my anime list to be fair. It says fantasy, historical. And that's it. Oh, you guys like to know how many volumes a series is, like before, if it's complete? I was talking to Zoe about this. I read something recently and I was like, I don't like that I know how many volumes this is because then in my mind, I've already set up that it's going to finish soon. So I already know. I sometimes like to know abruptly that it's going to end. So I don't set myself up and think to myself, overthink, oh, this is going to finish like this and da 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 da. Jinbei, isn't it the blue guy from one? Jinbei. But yeah, I just found out how many volumes Centaurs is, and I'm kind of glad, in a way, after reading volume 2. The first 2 volumes are solid. I can't speak for the rest of it, but it's great, and I want to find out what happens next. Whoa. Then I read Bride Story. Is it A Bride Story? It is A Bride Story. The A is inside the B. Right there. Didn't know, I've never seen that before. This, I can't even remember. Honestly, I can't really remember what happened. I feel like this was just like a slice of life series. A girl gets married off. I don't know what time period this is. There's no technology. They trade in sheep and stuff. They travel by foot and horse to see their loved ones. It's a slice of life series. This woman gets married off. She's 21. She gets married off to like a 12-year-old, which by today's standards, it's very weird, but I think in some cultures, that probably still happens. Yeah, I quite like the main woman. I can't remember her name now. It was quite a while ago that I read it. But she's cool. I thought maybe she would just be a wishy-washy kind of girl. She gets married off to this family. I thought maybe she'd like kind of be like not Mau Mau. Is Mau Mau's from Apothecary Diaries, right? Who's the girl from My Happy Marriage? I thought she'd be a bit wishy-washy, but she's not. The main girl in this is powerful. She knows how to cook. She's good at archery. She's very confident, not one to shy away from anything. And it's pretty cool. I like it. There's a little bit of drama towards the end. The family wanted her back. They said it was a mistake that she was married off. I don't think you can do that. I don't know how you can accidentally marry off your oldest daughter. But it's cool. There's hunting involved. It's just kind of a slice of life series, and yeah, it's pretty chill. I quite like it. I don't know how many volumes it is. We've got 6. Is it finished? Oh no. I liked it. I'm gonna read some more. I don't know when, but I will. At least another 5 anyway. And then I reread Glitch. Glitch by Shima Shinya, who did Lost Lad London. Zach from Uchu Shelf, Canadian dude living in England, recommended Lost Lad London. And then the maker made Glitch as well. Lost Lad London was 3-volume series of a murder mystery case, similar to like Luther, less so like Sherlock Holmesy kind of thing. This follows the story of 2 sisters who move to a new town, and they find a bunch of glitches that infiltrate the town that they live in, and loads of people can see them. And it's like just common knowledge that people know that they exist. Some people who can't see them also know that they exist, and that other people can see them. And the glitches are things like actual real life digital beings phasing in and out of the scene, whether it's like or is this volume? That's volume 1. Whether it's like antlers being seen over buildings, like so. And hooves and stuff. Or it's like trees that are like coming out of nowhere. Like floating trees and stuff. But they happen in classrooms, they happen around the city, around the town and everything. And the 2 girls that move into this city, this remote town in the middle of nowhere. Why is it always in Japan? When they make these stories, the town that they live in is always in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere. But it's funny because they start talking to these other high school girls, and they also know them. They also know the glitches happen, and they just shrug it off nonchalantly. The 2 new girls are just like, "Oh, by the way, I've been seeing this thing. Oh yeah, you're just seeing like the abnormalities that are around this town. That's fine." It's like, well, what are they? Oh, they're just things that happen, and no one's really questioning what they are, where they come from. And you don't know who can see them and who can't see them. And then they go to this shop, and the shop is housed by the shopkeeper is from the neck down a normal human. The neck up, he's just feathers. Just not even feathers, wings. He's like, can I show you? I have a picture of him. He is literally 4 pairs of wings. So he's just 8 wings. That's all he is. 8 wings. Can I get a close-up of him? This is him. This is the shopkeeper. That's him there. He's just... I don't even know if he has a head under there. He's just wings. And they go to him quite frequently as like... Oh, here we go. Here's the bear pit. I don't know if he's real. But the thing is, everyone talks to him as if he's just a normal person. So I don't know if it's like an Akira Toriyama thing where, you know how like in Dragon Ball, like obviously Piccolo's a weird thing, but like there's humans in the Dragon Ball universe, and then there's people who are like dogs and cats just walking around, and rabbits that just walk around like humans do. 8 wings, that's almost a bargain. He's literally walking around with a fresh bargain bucket on his head. But you don't know how these people got here. These beings. There's a couple of other people or beings that interact with the main characters. And again, they don't look human, but nobody discriminates against them. It's like they just know that they exist. But the 2 girls don't, but no one questions it. It's very strange. It's got a lot of mystery. There's this forest in the middle of the town that I think has some sort of connection to everything. And I'm glad for some reason, I just had a feeling it would be 3 volumes just because Lost Lad London was. But this one continues. I don't know how long for, but I want to see what the forest means. I want to know who the people are. I want to know where these glitches come from. And there's a couple of other characters that get introduced, and I want to know who they are. Like in My Hero Academia, yeah, people are just like lizards and stuff. But I guess with that, it's like everyone does have superpowers, you know. Bakugo is like, you know, sweating out gasoline and everything. Nitroglycerin or whatever it is. But this has like a real life setting. Like, there's no superpowers except from the glitches, obviously. And then these people. I don't get it. That police officer with cat thing. Yeah, and then that other superhero is like he's an orca. He's just an orca. He's just a human with an orca head. Or Floppy, who's basically a frog. Bipedal frog. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good mystery series. It's not like... It doesn't get my heart racing, but I'm just intrigued to find out what happens. The story is well paced. The characters are really diverse. None of them feel the same. And I find the glitches, like alien things, whatever you want to call them, they have like hidden potential to, like, I can't really say anything. They're great. They're amazing, and I'm invested. Volume 11 is out very, very soon, if not already, I think. I read volume 10 of Kaiju number 8. This feels like the end. And I hope it is, because I thoroughly enjoyed Kaiju number 8. It has a lot of positives for an action shonen series. In this far in, we're at the we've just been introduced to a bunch of powerful kaiju. And when I say a bunch, when you first start reading, you get introduced to one powerful kaiju every so often. Suddenly, volume 9, I think, end of volume 9, we got introduced to 14, maybe 10. 10 or 14 really powerful kaiju. And now we're going through the steps of defeating each one of those kaiju. And I don't know how many volumes that's going to last. I just hope it's interesting. And when it gets to the end, we are at the final boss. At the end of all these kaiju being defeated, I don't want to see another 5 or 4 really strong kaiju, like these, the guardians, the monarchs, the whatever you want to call them, the yokai. I don't want to see that. There is one bad guy in this, and I want to see him after this arc. If it goes on too long, I will be annoyed. I like in modern day manga action shonen series, I like that they've been showing off a fully fledged story within 10 to 15, 20 volumes. It doesn't need to be a Naruto. It doesn't need to be a One Piece. Give me the highs, end at the top. Don't give it a chance to dip. Alright, I read 2 other series. What's the time? Man, I've been live for 40 minutes. Yeah, Kaiju's really good. I haven't watched any of the anime, but my friend had. I hope it gets a bunch more eyes on it. I hope loads of people pick it up, because it's good. But I did hear, when was it? I had a bunch of manga, weekly and monthly chapter manga reviewers, and mentioned that Kaiju number 8 had gone downhill. This was maybe 3-4 months ago, which I don't think I've read up to yet. This is all new to me. I just hope it doesn't get bad, That's why I kind of want it to end soon. Because it already feels like it's getting to the point where it could, the quality could go down. Alright, 2 other series that I've read. I think I'm going to do the long one. I read Blood on the Tracks 1 through 17. I read it in the space of 4.5 hours over 3 days. I started on Saturday afternoon and I finished, or to be fair, I finished Saturday afternoon? No, it was 2 days. I started Sunday afternoon and I read up to volume 6, and then it was volume 7 on Monday, and I read all the way up to volume 17. So I read 11 volumes on Monday. They are super quick. You can finish some of the volumes in 10 minutes. In terms of pacing, it's seconds. It's really well paced. It doesn't feel like you couldn't fit more story into this. You was considering giving it a try after Happiness. It has a different feel to Happiness, I would say. But it's great. I don't know if you've read any other Shuzo Ishimi work. I think it's closest. He's got so many great stories. It feels closer to something like Flowers of Evil, or what was the other one that I read of his that I'm blanking on? Welcome Back, Alice. It is an adolescent boy and his relationship with his mother. And it is all parts Shuzo Ishimi. If you've read any of his works, you know what I mean. It is all parts awkward, uncomfortable, Um, and I think at some points I got angry. Happiness is your first Shuzo Oshimi read. Then I think you might. This is completely different, I would say. Because Happiness is like fantasy. You know, you've got vampires and stuff. This is all bedded in reality. When you read this genuinely could happen to a real person. There's a lot of manipulation from everyone. But the young boy grows with his mother, and it's painful to watch in many ways. He's very watchful and very controlling in ways. And without going into too much detail, I feel I relate to this in certain aspects. The way the mother reacts and treats the main character. He doesn't get to live a full life how he should. And at such a young, you follow most of his story from when he's like 14, 15. And at that point, you're really impressionable. You should be going out and experiencing like school life and not really be staying at home so much. You know, explore the world as in like, you know, your backyard kind of thing, your local area, get on a bus, that kind of thing, train. He's not allowed to do anything, so she's very controlling, and he lives a very sheltered life, it feels. And certain things happened, and that one thing that happens early on spirals into something that controls him for the rest of his life. It's typical with Shuzo Oshimi as well. There is a time skip at some point, so no spoilers when, and then you follow him onwards. The outcome is exactly what I needed and wanted from this series. Again, any of his works you can't really spoil. You can't say anything because it does spoil the whole thing, the whole experience. But I think I read Shuzo Oshimi. I read Blood on the Tracks early this year up to volume 14. And then over the weekend I read it again. And I never cried. I felt cringy and uncomfortable reading. And volume 16 and 17, I think I cried. Because of the emotional journey that I had been through and watched this character go through. It reminded me in some ways of Goodnight Punpun. If you've enjoyed that, enjoy is probably the wrong word to say, you'd probably like this as well. But it's horrible. In the best way. And I would say, if you've read any of his works, pick up volume 1. If you want to know what happens from volume 1, you're going to want to know what happens at volume 17. Will, I don't know if you're here. You were here on Monday. I don't know how you finish this after 100 volumes. 100 chapters. What's chapter 100? He said 100 something. How could you drop this up? Oh no, I don't know where Will is, but next time I see him, I'm gonna have a word. Just flicking through volume chapters 100 to like 110. What is it? 100 and... This is 99 to 108. This is the point where you want to know what's happening. And it's going somewhere. That's crazy. Think about it some more. Just read volume 1. Even if you read it online. Yeah, definitely read volume 1. Oh, voice break. Definitely read volume 1. Everybody. And if you feel too uncomfortable to read it, then you know it's not for you. If you want to know what happens, because volume 1 has everything in it. It has everything that you need to know that you're going to experience for the rest of the next 16 volumes. And it's going to be heartbreaking. Anyways, this is one of those series that you just can't talk too much about because it's a spoil. Everything that happens in every single volume is a spoiler, other than manipulation and confusion. And I see too many naked images. He loves drawing boobs and penises. Okay. Yo. Last book that I read for September. How many books did I read? I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 plus 17. That's 30 books. I miss anything? Just all the books that I've read for September. Quick run through. 2 volumes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Volume 5 of My Girlfriend's Child. 2 volumes of Ragnar Crimson. 2 volumes of Centaurs, A Bride's Story, Kaiju number 8, volume 10, and Glitch volumes 1, 2, and 3, and the entire works of Shuzo Shimi. Blood on the Tracks, 1 to 17. Wild and compelling. It is really wild. And it makes you think. If you read a series from Shuzo Shimi, I would like to think that you would come away with it feeling, 1, I don't want to be treated like that. And 2, I hope I don't treat people like that. Because that's how they're going to turn out. And I think that's they're the 2 things that I always think about. I come away with when I read a Shuzo Shimi work. I don't want to be like that. And I don't want to treat anyone like that. I don't want to be any of the characters in any of his stories. I don't want to be the protagonist, because they're always run down and depressed. Sometimes they come out on top. Still, I want to go through that. And 2, I don't want to be the person that's giving someone that stress and anxiety and feeling like they've got no self-worth. Didn't I read Berserk? Well, that's what this big boy was. I read the first omnibus of Berserk. I opened it, I read the first chapter, and at the end of the first chapter, I turned to Zoe and I said, I think I've made a bad decision in terms of buying the omnibuses. These hardcovers are great. They feel nice. They look nice. They are so cumbersome, so difficult to handle. I am being weighed down. I think I've actually got an indent on my bed now with the weight of this sitting on my lap. And I said to Zoe, I think I might have to go to the singles because I'm not going to enjoy this. I said that after chapter 1, and then I finished the book. I was enthralled. Singles are supreme. They are. I feel like they are the way to go. These are nice. These are a nice high quality version. I'm not reading Berserk on the train if I have this. I'm not reading Berserk. I'm not taking this on holiday. You know? Unless I'm going on holiday to kill someone. Wait. But what did I think? Piece of garbage. No. These are 3-in-1s. And I loved every second of it. I got enough story out of this. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much if I just read volume 1, but reading 3 volumes back to back, I said I read it in one sitting. I didn't. I read 2 volumes in one sitting, and then I finished off the last volume the following morning. It was a ride. A dark fantasy, to say the least. A dark fantasy to lead the generational impact of dark fantasies. I can understand where all these video games, Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro and stuff like that, and all these other dark comic book stories they say my inspiration. I read like a few volumes of Berserk and I felt inspired, so I basically copied it. This is the, I can't say it because I've only read 3 volumes. I feel like this is like the best dark fantasy that I've ever read or experienced, like even in movies and stuff. That's the other thing as well, is that I have to get it all and they're very expensive. And I don't think I'm going to be as lucky as some people. I've known a few people who have purchased these off like Amazon, gone missing, got a refund, and then the volume turned up the next day. You know, got them for half price because the cashier accidentally typed it in wrong. Buy it all, Zoe will never know. Maybe I should start running ads on YouTube videos and beg you guys for money. No. Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely amazing. Within the first 3 volumes, you got to see Guts for all his badassness, swinging that sword that is 2 times the size of him, 5 times his weight, with not a smirk on his face or remorse for anyone that he cuts down. To find out he's actually just an asshole, to then think actually maybe he's just misunderstood. And then you get a backstory of him from when he's a kid. Spoilers, I have to say it. He was born from his mother who was hanging from a tree. Like from the noose, neck noose. She was hung. And she gave birth to him while she was dead. And he was there on the floor. You're bound to be messed up from the get-go. Surely. What kind of omen is that for you? For the setup for your life? Cloud has nothing on Guts' sword. Cloud's sword is awesome. But it's not Guts' sword. Oh, what else I did like about the omnibus? It comes out with this, I don't know what you call these. Little bookmarks. Short. Do these have a name? They have to have a name. Surely they have a name. These are lovely. These are absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think I'm gonna continue Berserk. I have volume 2, so I'm gonna get the next 3 volumes out the way, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to sell up and just get the singles. I don't have a space. I don't have a space for the omnibuses. But I might go for the singles. Also, as well, the assistant who is now taking over. I understand it's been confirmed now that the assistant for Berserk has now taken over to continue Berserk. And I don't know how long it's going to be and how long it will be before we get like the next omnibus, because we have to wait for 3 volumes. But at least this way, if he's going to continue, we'll get the singles regularly. At least you wouldn't have to destroy any more One Piece. Look, this will be here for the rest of my life until it's all gone. And I've used, to be fair, we have so many sci-fi bookmarks. I don't really need to use it, but I'll use this for whatever I need to. I may color some of it in. Years for the next deluxe comes out. It will. And that's why I'm thinking I might just go to the singles. Because otherwise, I'm going to be... We have no choice with Vinland Saga. They're 2-in-1s. We have to wait. We should be getting a volume 14, hopefully next year. That's me. Sometime next year, we should be getting it. But then it'll be like another 3 years before we get volume 15 after that. This Berserk, we might only get like 1 volume every year or 2, which means we'll probably maybe wait like 6-7 years maybe before we get the next volume omnibus of Berserk. Thank you. But who knows? Who knows? Anyways, I'm going to end. That was my monthly reading log. And now I'm gonna go hang out with Caitlin because Caitlin's streaming. I'm gonna go hang out with her. She's got her hair. Her hair is so long. Why's her hair long?
So excited to be there in the moment that you'll just.
Yeah, I'm gonna go chill with Caitlin.
Just before we get into.
I don't know what she's doing. What's she doing today? Little Kitty Big. Oh, it's the kitty game that she's playing.
A few of my recent figure pickups. I have a pile, a pile of Nendoroids that I have not put away after the last like.
All right, take it easy, guys. I will see you. When will I see you? I don't know. Maybe Sunday. It's definitely Sunday. I don't know if I'll stream next time or between then. Maybe Friday. I'm not too sure. But we shall see. We shall see. If not, then it'll be Monday. Maybe jelly of the head. Sazzle. Low blow. Hurt. Ow. I can grow hair, you know. Sometimes. If I want to. I choose to be bald. I choose to look like a potato. Eggshell blonde. You just saying I got an egghead? Nice.